Right, people. Good afternoon, good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Eric with Winning Strategies, Fatherhood, the Courts and Custody. And tonight, it's going to be a little special. Okay. I have several fathers coming on. I have Norman also is going to be on. Um, and we're going to be discussing some things. Okay. However, before we get into it, you know how I like to start it. Just a quick word of prayer just to give us that strength because dads deal with things on a daily basis just like moms. However, the court system is making it very, very hard for us to almost function. Okay. So just give me a minute, and I have your undivided attention. Oh, Heavenly Father, we just ask that you just rain down on us, Father, as well. We try to battle the injustice of the family courts. They make it hard for us. They make it real hard for us to want to be fathers, to want to do what we need to do. However, Father, we're going to turn to you because you have the say so in what goes on and what happens. We just need to turn and surrender to you and let them know that hey, you will not touch my anointed. They will not touch your children. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right. As I said, we're joined by several fathers this evening. Um, one I've met before, and the other one I've just met through communications for what winning strategies they do on a daily basis. Okay. Now, tonight it's a little different. Okay. Tonight we're going to be dealing with the biasness of the family court in depth. Okay. Um, each father has their own unique story. Each father has something that needs to be said and shared. Okay. Um, however, what they have to say and what they will say will shine light on what's going on that's being, I'll say, how fathers are being railroaded. And to give you a segue into what's going on and why tonight's last segment is real important, um, I ordered a transcript. Okay, I ordered all my transcripts from the time I've been in court for my son. Okay, and knowing when you act on your own behalf, you are pro se. That means you get the lawyer's title when it comes to getting documents from the court. So, in getting the documents from the family court, they said that on their own letterhead, they say if you have an attorney or if you are acting on your own behalf, you can get the documents. Okay, you can get the recordings. Well, I got all those recordings from, and now mind you, my son is now 16. Okay, I've been doing this since he was 5. Okay, I've been back and forth with his mother since he was 5, and so I'm looking to look at some of the issues with the judge, how he, because I had females as well, how they was doing things back and forth with not being um, forthright, okay, and not doing things according to the law. Now, when I got the DVD for all the cases in it. I sent it to Norman to put together a compilation for me to help out with other fathers. He says, Eric, there's no video, it's only audio. I'm like, well, no, look at the form. It says I ordered, I get both. He's like, I see what it says. They only sent you audio. Then called the court. Okay, he called the court Thursday morning. When he called the court said to him, "Oh, well, that law changed as of January." Well, if the law changed as of January, don't you think you should have put it on the website? Don't you think you should have made people aware? Because basically, me being me, when I found out, I went and looked it up. Okay, I went and looked and I researched, and there are several rules in Maryland law that states that you are to be given, you are to be given video and audio. Okay, so me being me again, I wrote a letter to the office of the clerk. Okay, and had Norman call, and the representative that answered the phone said, "Well, you have to write a letter." And Norman said, "Where does it say that on the website? It doesn't even say that in your paperwork." But that's you know how I roll when I go after them and I have to say what's what. But I'm going to let the Father speak, okay, on how things should be. I'm going to let our Father, speak on what He wants to happen, because basically they're not going to give it to you until you, quote unquote, put fuel under their feet to make it happen. Now I'm going to let the first Father talk, okay, Jason talk, and he's going to explain to you what happened when he reached out. And basically, he reached out to me because on the strength of my wife. All right. So, Jason, the it's all on you, man.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jason. I'm a father that's, in the same struggle as a lot of our fathers here, that's on this website and just in the world and, in our country. First of all, I just want to give a shout out to my alma mater, City, right here, Go City. We beat Poly, blowout, so I'm coming off a high. It's a pleasure being involved with Eric right here. He's definitely been so far. I mean, we just met, but the mentorship and the energy that he's given. So I just want to give accolades to him. Um, Speaking on my story, kind of the same thing that Eric said. I think that at the end of the day, when they're presenting things, it's a way to get you trapped. If you don't know the laws, you don't know the rules, then there's no way for you to know your rights. So on my personal story, um, I'm not going to break it down to the final detail, but I'm just going to share one thing that I really feel is a big issue with dealing with the court systems with custody or child support. Um, the first thing is, as males, we already labeled as being wrong, being the enemy. You know, a female, and shout out to all my females. There's some good females out there. As good is good single mothers. But it's a lot of great single dads or dads that haven't had a chance to do their job or are being put in places because of personal issues, and the courts automatically take their side. Um, I've been a victim of this, and I think more so the fact of, if you want to get away from personal problems, I think the way that the whole system is set up. Um, I got an example where I had child support, and I had one child that was um, um, she turned 18 2 years ago. And when I reached out to the court system, who notified me that she would be taken off my child support case, they notified me. They sent me notification, and you know, when I reached back out to them later on, because I'm assuming since you notified me, my payment will be adjusted. The problem I have with this is, if you know this is a order based on two children, and one children is now 18 years old, they're emancipated. And when I tell you, well, why hasn't the bill changed? At that point, I'm being told that now I have to bear the burden of proof. I have to
Wait,
go
wait,
out.
wait, wait, wait. What, you have to prove that your child turned 18?
No, I don't have to prove. But what I have to do at this point is I have to file paperwork to get a new court date to get my financial obligation adjusted. So for me, I'm a meat and potatoes type of guy. I'm black and white. If it makes sense, it makes sense. One plus one equals two. So if you're telling me that under the Maryland state or child support guidelines, under financial obligation of a parent, except for this, why after one child is emancipated, that obligation isn't adjusted? So I asked child support this, and they said, "Oh, well, we don't deal with adjustments. No matter if you had 5 children on there and all of them came off except for one, your payments will stay the same unless you reach out to a judge and plead your case." So for me, this I couldn't fathom this. I'm like, this is crazy. So we're going under guidelines that's set because when you go to court, they say, all right, well, this is how much you make. This is how much you made a year. Under the guidelines, this is how much you obligated to pay. Boom. I'm fine with that. Right. If we're going by those same guidelines, at what point is it my responsibility to have to come out here and fight for my case to get it adjusted? And if fathers don't do that, then you'll be paying that money minus the adjustment for however long, and I think at that point it's like an entrapment. It's like they're setting you up for failure. They a lot. I didn't know that I had to reach out when I spoke out to child support. Nobody told me that I should have wrote a letter or filed for paperwork. And let's talk about the paperwork process in itself, period. You go through child support, your paperwork process, they want to see your tax returns. They want to see your pay stubs. They want to see all of this different stuff. It's a 14-page document compared to if you are able to, and Eric helped me out with this, go through the court systems, which is a 2-page document. Again, it's like this stuff isn't listed, it's not known, they don't tell you about it, and they plan on your ignorance. And I'm a victim of that. I'm in a hole right now because I was not informed. And it wasn't until finally, I got some great advice, some guidance, and letters were wrote, and the tone of the conversation shifted. It wasn't just
Excuse me.
it,
No, no, no. Hold up. I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you. Look, after the first letter was written,
yep.
go into that. I I'm sorry. Just go into that for me.
So so letters were written. I'm thinking, I was advised, you're gonna hear something fast, but you should hear something, in a couple of weeks. Letter was mailed out on Tuesday or Wednesday. Monday, I was contacted. Mr. Smith, this is the office of such and such. We received your letter. And to be honest, my letter wasn't even toward them. It was sent above their heads, but they reached out and their tone was very different. It wasn't this what it is. It is what it is. Like they spoke with me with respect. They spoke with me like I was a human being, instead of I was already guilty, and it was Mr. Smith, we got your letter, we hear your concerns. This is what's going on. We see that your oldest child was emancipated. You should have been informed to file. You should have been informed to file for an adjustment. And when I told the lady, and she was nice again, and I let her know at the end of the day, I said, I've never spoken to anybody from your department who actually seemed like we're having a one-on-one conversation, instead of talking down. And And I let her know. I said, well, that wasn't told to me. And she was like, oh, well, I don't know why that wasn't, because it should have been sent in a packet. It wasn't any packet sent. It wasn't any instructions sent.
So let me
And
stop you right here. I don't mean to break in.
no, you good.
All right, you hearing this?
Yeah, I'm hearing this.
All right, all right. Everybody else out there that's paying attention or watching this right now, listen, okay? If you do not put that your best foot forward, you will be trampled on. They will treat you like trash. I'm saying it the best way I can right now because my mother-in-law can hear me. She's right upstairs, so I'm gonna keep it professional. Okay, um, they will treat you like trash. All right. Now, and I'm not gonna take away, Jason, from what you have to say. I had me being me, the executive director for Winning Strategies, until I took the liberty to put that letter together, and not only put that letter together, I had to incorporate case law. Am I correct, Jason?
Case law.
Okay,
Absolutely.
because unless you come with something factual and show them how it's supposed to be done, okay, in your instance, they will always try to trample over you. Always. All right. So I tell fathers to go. I'm sorry. This is past that nice guy bullcrap. Okay. I tell fathers to go in there ready. I tell fathers to get ready for whenever comes their way. I'm I'm not saying be disrespectful about it. I'm just saying be prepared. Why I want you to be prepared? Because I don't want your situation to turn out like my situation, a lot of other fathers' situation. You hear how Jason had to go through it, and then we're gonna listen to Eric. All right. But there's another father from California who's about to join us. Okay. Um, he has gone through this whole shenanigans of a system. All right. But not to take away, Jason. You can go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
All right, so and just capitalizing on what Eric was saying, the unfairness of how the system goes in, and he spoke on it. Like you have to be aggressive. You had to stand on for what you believe in, what your rights. I didn't do that in the beginning. In the beginning, when I was divorced, I had one custody of my two daughters. I had my daughters for 9 years. 9 years in the courtroom. Judge came out, made her pay $200 for both kids. No, no, he didn't start her off in the rears. It was just automatic pity. And when she agreed to the terms, not only did he grant, he gave her leniency, he asked her 3 times, "Are you sure?
See,
Are you
you
are
ain't gonna
you
get that.
sure?" We don't get that. Are you sure? He said, "Are you sure?" She said, "Yes." He said, "Do you understand what's going on? Are you sure you understand?" Fast forward to me, had her for 9 years. They go to their mom. They was living with their mom for a year before while we was going through custody. And off the break, I was hit with rears. I was hit with arrears, you know, over 8 grand, hit with arrears. And then they like 753 a month. Plus 188 for a ribbon. And when I tried to talk to the magistrate, I said, well, how is that even fair? I get my obligation. I said, but 9 years and we going to, now, how is that even fair? And it was like, well, we're going by the state guidelines. So you pick and choose when you want to go by the state guidelines. So to me, excuse my French, this is where the bullshit comes in. And I'm sorry for, cussing on the
No, you
podcast.
good. You good. You good.
But this is where it's like you can't pick and choose when the law applies. You know what I'm saying? And think that everybody's supposed to take it and roll over with it. And it didn't sit right with me. I'm sitting there and I can't figure it out, but I felt defeated. And it wasn't until really I was meeting some great people, Eric, and kind of giving a extra voice. Because to be honest, I gave up. I was just like, well, listen, it's a lost cause. I don't know what I can do, but just to see how the biasness, as far as with black men, not just black men, but men in general, how you're put into a category. And at the time, again, she was making more money than me. When they hit me with my child support obligation, she was making more money than me. I brought that up again. I said, well, she makes more money than me. So why is, my bill this high? She said, oh, well, your bill is 753, but her obligation to be 983. And I'm thinking to myself, well, who's she paying it to? Herself? Like, so she paying herself 983. I'm just trying to figure it out, So um for me, that really showed the craziness in his system, especially for good fathers. And just fast forward to right now, none of even one of my kids are with their mom. Um,
So whoa. Neither one of them are with her, but
nope.
they're still trying to make you pay.
They're still trying to make. I have to fight in court to prove that neither one of them are with her. Yeah, and they're still they. What I was told was, and this is per of my conversation maybe last week or whatever. If my evidence is proven to be correct, any adjustment will be moving forward. So that's from child support.
So wait. What the no. Before I go off and be on a rant with typing a letter and sitting it down there on Saratoga Street, okay? Because that's where their office is. What did they tell you? It would be from moving forward. It's not going to be go back to when it started.
Child support basically told me this, and this is a problem I had with child support. So they said that, hold up, let me use the exact quote that the lady gave me, which is crazy because, my wife is a nurse. So she used this quote and she goes, well, the judge orders, they're like the doctors and we're like the nurses. So when the doctor writes orders, the nurse follows it. But again, my wife has been a nurse for, I mean, damn near 20 years right now. And, me having a little bit of knowledge of what she goes on, my question, I asked this lady this, and I was like, so if the doctor writes the order and you guys follow it, and you use an analogy as doctors and nurses, if somebody is in there and they on high blood pressure, I mean, they on blood pressure medication, a doctor ordered them blood pressure medication, right? And the nurse checks their blood pressure and their blood pressure is extremely low. Would you still give them the medication? Would you still give it to them? As a nurse, would you still give it to them? Their blood pressure is lower than normal. Would you still give it to them? And the lady was sitting there and she's like, well, sir, I'm just saying. She ain't had no words. And she's like, well, listen, we can't make the orders. We can't make the change. Y'all the ones who levied my account. A judge ain't put that through. Like, y'all have the right to levy somebody's bank account. You have the power to do that. You have a power to suspend somebody's license. You have the power to garnish somebody's wages. And I do know for a fact that child support can set child support payments because everything isn't through a judge. Also, what the lady told me was, and this was what was crazy. She said, "All right, well, Mrs. Smith, you know, I'm just gonna be honest. If the judge had put in his orders, once the one child turned 18, your payments would change. Then we could go ahead and enforce it." And again, to me, it's a no-brainer. If he put it in for two children, why should he have to tell you guys that if one child comes off, the payment is adjusted? If you're going by state guidelines, again, it's state guidelines. So,
Yeah.
it's a bunch of
Now,
BS.
hold on. Now, I'm gonna switch gears real quick. Eric, now you've been here. You've listened to me. You've listened to Jason. Okay. Now, in preparation for what you are about to embark upon, and I'm about to say embark upon because I'm gonna say there's no quick fix. You have to be um ready for it. All right.
Right.
And I have been quote unquote blessed to be there, be up for the fight, be willing to go on, and I've also know where I can look to find the information. When I say go know where to look, um, there's certain things that I need fathers to do. All right. When you get an opportunity, okay, y'all can go on to Google Scholar and look up case law, okay? And case law according to your particular case. All right. Now, with your situation, we're about to start, okay, and going about to go through, okay. If it's one thing I would like to say in all of this is be ready, okay. Um, because sometimes, and I had to help one father out with this, okay. He was going through mediation, okay. However, how is the mediate? All right, the mediator is supposed to be unbiased, okay. But looking at the mediator's website, it only talks about women and how it's supposed to help women and do for women. Now, I said to him, I'm like, I said in his letter, I'm like, ask them, well, if you're supposed to be unbiased, why is it that your website only says for women? Okay. So I want you to pay attention to the nuances of the mediator. Okay. However, before, like I talked to you before, when you go in there, I need for you to have your game plan ready. Okay. I need for you to think about how you want to how you want custody to go. Okay? Because if the parents can communicate, all right, or have the slightest bit of communication going on, or willing to use the apps that are out there, excuse me, things can go a lot smoother. All right. Um, but I want you to be ready to say, well, hey, this is what I can really do. This is what I can put forth. How about us communicating and come together? Now, when when you do your letter, and I can look it over for you because basically I tell a lot of fathers this because the judges and the magistrates in Baltimore City courts like to play a little game. Okay, they don't want to enforce case law. What I mean by enforce case law, in 2020 during the pandemic, Hogan signed a bill, okay? Signed a bill that says fathers will have joint custody at 94 overnights. 94, 96 overnights. Okay? Overnight. Remember, there are 365 days in a year. Okay? Within 365 days in a year, we can go off with a high number. You should be able to keep your child overnight, at least 96 of those days, to have joint custody, thereby getting a reduction in your child support payment, thereby giving you time with your child to bond with your child or your children. So, yes, have that prepared, have that laid out. I- I'm sorry, um, we don't have a lot of resources that the women have. Okay. However, you do have a resource within Winning Strategies, Fatherhood, the Courts, and Custody to help you prepare you for that. Okay. And the resource you have with us is to give you what they're not giving you, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
Okay. To help you put together that plan, to help you fight the good fight. All right. I have been one of those fathers, but I woke up. Okay. I was one of those fathers that said, bump this, I'm tired. This is going on too far. Okay. However, I kept pushing, I kept on. And I just went to court maybe a month and a half ago. Okay. Now my son is now 16. Okay. 16. It's more important for me to play that part in his life now than before. All right. However, I see what is going on now because, and I have to laugh about it. Her boyfriend, okay, he wants to play that role. All right, and I'm like, okay, you can play that role if you want to. However, you still got to remember it takes 46 chromosomes to make a child, 23 from her and 23 from me. All right, my 23 still counts. So you can be the step up father, but you can be the step up father, but I haven't stepped out. You follow me? So basically, he was trying to do that. I'm like, all right. So long story short, and I think I shared this with Jason. Um, my son was the one that was in that incident over at that school in Baltimore County. That was the first time I ever heard from his mother in 3 years because I put a order in place to have her go to jail from keeping him from me. Okay, so in that time period, 365 days a year times three, that's over 1,000 days. 1,000 days I haven't seen my son. Okay, and when I saw him when he was in the hospital, he said to me, "I have one question, Dad. Why haven't you reached out to me?"
Mm.
I'm like, I'm like, say what? Why haven't I reached out to you? I love my iPhone. I really do. Because my iPhone lets me go back to 3 years prior to all those texts I was sending him, all the emails I was sending him, and I was sending to his mom. I brought up that fact, Eric, because unless you don't have a game plan to go forth and go up and quote unquote battle the system, I don't want you as a father to go through that. I didn't have that at first, okay? At first. But at when he was about what, 9, that's when I started to do it. Okay. I was being nice and compliant. I was trying to make things right with her. Okay. We can co-parent. I thought we could co-parent. Nah, nah. All right. So, moving forward, er, I don't know how much, and like I didn't ask you too much about your case. Only thing I wanted to do was help you, prepare you for your fight. I'm sorry to say it has to be aggressive like that because it's going to be a fight. Okay. I don't know any custody battle that's not a fight. All right. And basically, here in the state of Maryland, let me say, and that's going to be, I'm gonna pull it up for y'all to see. Here in the state of Maryland, we are really dealing with some. I'm sorry, I'm gonna take it to some corrupt judges and
Um,
magistrates. Okay, one, I had to beat her ruling because when I was in her courtroom, things were said and transpired. But basically, when I wrote my, because when the family court they call exceptions, not appeals. When I wrote my exceptions to her ruling and I filed them on the 30th day, guess what? My exceptions beat her ruling, and guess what? It got what she presented thrown out. It's no longer a part of my docket. Okay? I know I was a few choice words because here is a black man in Baltimore City writing a opinion about my ruling, which was biased, which was filled with a lot of s- crap. Okay, but when I just pointed it out and using case law, things were different. And I don't want you, Eric, to get to that point because I'm already. I can see now. I'm setting Jason up already with what he has to do. Okay, and for when has to go and sit in front of them. All right, fathers have to be prepared for this. And I'm sorry to say, they won't give it to you or let you have it like they let the mothers have it, because basically, how much they want to charge you with a retainer? 10,000, 5,000 for a retainer,
yep.
and then you got to pay them
10.
every so often.
Yeah, 10
Yeah.
off the break.
Right, right. They want to charge you $10,000 so you can be a father. But then basically, they still trying to make you a weekend dad because they ain't gonna fight for you to have access like you want. Anything you want to say? Anything, Eric?
Hey, I told you I'm about 10,000 in lawyer fees. I stopped that. That's why I decided to do it by myself this time. I paid
Yeah,
five my last custody case, and that ain't get nowhere. So I feel like I'm just wasting
See,
at this point.
yeah, that's
so
it.
let me share something with you. All right, I called this the fleecing of fatherhood, the biased family court, biases throughout the country. All right, this is taking place not just in Maryland. This is taking place throughout. All right, this is taking place throughout, but it's hitting home because a lot of people are upset. And when I say people, I mean dads. All right, but you know what? And I'm gonna be honest about it. I am blessed every day to get up to fight the good fight on my job. And I'm talking the good fight on my job is not the job where I go to get paid. The good fight on my job is what I call fighting for fathers. Okay? Because that means that that child or those children have another opportunity to look at their father in the face and say, thank you. That means that the father can say thank you to the child as well. Okay? Because let's be real about it. if it wasn't for the fact of that child being there half the time, it wouldn't give us as much fight. I know on my behalf it wasn't, you know, because my father wasn't there. I still love him to death, but my father wasn't there. So I chose to do something different. Now, let me just share something with you on this one. I said why we need to bring this to light again. All right. I went off of a Bible verse from Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. That which has been is what will be. That which is done is what will be done. And there's nothing new under the sun. I use that because they have been doing this to us for years. They have been treating fathers like this for years. All right. And they just try to twist it a little bit. And why I'm gonna say that they've been doing this for years. My oldest child is 34. I hope I'm right. If she's listening, I'll forgive me. uh, um, and I had to fight again in Baltimore City and against God rest her soul, Judge Dancy. Okay, and I had to fight with that for her with that judge. Okay, so my thing was this: when I became a father 17 years later, no, 19 years later, they were still doing the same thing. So, to your situation, Jason, and now what's coming up with Eric's situation, that gives winning strategies even more of a reason to fight this. Okay, I reached out when I wrote when Norman called and tried to get the DVDs, right? He asked them. He's like, "Well, it doesn't say anything about nobody not being able to have access to the DVDs. So why is it?" Well, we just changed that this year. And you heard, I don't know if you heard me say at the beginning, Norman asked them. He's like, "Well, don't you think it need to be put on the website that you can't get the video unless you ask for it?" Well, that's not even in according to law. Okay? Because basically the law says you can have it. Hold on for me. Mr. Pay, what's going on, sir?
What's up? What's up?
Um,
How's everybody?
Going
All
on?
right, all right.
um, so basically that is something totally wrong. All right? Now, I like this one right here. We need to set the standard. 1 Corinthians 14:40. Let all things be done decently and in order. Decently and in order. I say that, Jason and Eric, because if you have a law that talks about how custody is supposed to go, okay, and you have rules about how it's supposed to be, then follow them. Don't let them be different for the mother than they are for the father. Okay, you just said it, Eric. When they try to railroad you and not give you your due, and you had the child,
Yeah.
and your girls. How's that indecency and in order if they gonna treat you different?
Hey, Eric, can I just say something? Like, and speaking to the other Eric, like, just piggyback on what you're saying. Like, in hindsight, looking back on my past experience and just hearing from your past experience, well, my advice I give to Eric: when you go in there, be ruthless. Like, I think as men, we used to. these. You know what I'm saying? We ain't really with all of this a lot of times, but I, if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't have gave the passes that I had gave thinking that it was going to be on equal ground. Like, cause it's not like that. I didn't know the system. Like, because when you put in that same situation, they not giving you the same leeway. Like, go in there, be ruthless, and the thing about it is, you're not being ruthless for the other person. You fighting for your child at the end of the day, because the child need their father. So it's like if they tell you, "Hey, would you jump in the water, 20-foot wave to save your kid?" And the father's, "Yeah." Would you run in the burning building? Same thing. You gotta go in that courtroom and be ruthless. Like if I get a chance to get in that courtroom again, and God willing, hopefully I do, I'm not holding nothing back. I'm going in there with everything, guns loaded. Like when I walk out of there, there's no, I'm not letting nothing. I'm not holding nothing back because I'm in there for my children.
I agree
Now,
with that.
and what you just said goes to my last point, and before I let Pay speak, I said we need a group of fathers who are willing to fight the good fight. In Habakkuk 2:2, then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain on tablets that he may run who reads it. All right. What to me, what that's saying is this: we need to man up, gather together, focus on trying to make the courts unbiased. Okay. Now, here in the state of Maryland, because Pay is over in California, here in the state of Maryland, did y'all know when y'all vote for those judges in, you gave them a 15-year term?
Nah.
I know that.
Yeah, man, that's too
Yes.
long. That's too long
15
for a judge.
years.
That's a
You
long time.
give judges a 15-year term.
But what about sometimes on the ballot? It's no other options for judges. It's the same. It's the same people names on it.
That's true.
You know why that is?
Because they know
Nobody
people
ever
don't.
challenged the system.
Yep. And
Because
people
I'm
don't.
looking at my ballot. I looked at my ballot. I'm about to go vote. And the judges. Well, not for judges. I mean, that was the last one. I guess for the mayor, whatever. But it wasn't an option for judges. It had you just check the box.
You know why? You gave them a 15-year term already.
Oh my,
That's crazy.
And they
that's too long.
Yeah, see that's it. Because it was a delegate few terms because winning strategies is in Annapolis come January. Okay, we either write letters, and I'm trying to get as many fathers to at least send letters down there or whatever needs to be to get the laws changed for fathers. There is a senator from he became a senator from being a delegate that says, "Oh, Maryland is a law state. They're not willing to change their laws or towards fathers." Okay, but I'm like, after reading this dude's bio, I'm like, "Hey, man, dude, your bio says you was raised in PG County to a mother of four. So if you're saying to a mother of four, where was your daddy? Okay, did they treat your daddy like they treating us now, or was your daddy just not there?" But Pay,
Yes, sir.
let's hear you. All right, let me introduce Mr. Pay. Okay, Mr. Pay and I communicated almost 2 years ago because he was
Yeah, has it been?
interested in what I do and how we do it, and his story mimics mine, mimics yours, and mimics yours. Okay. However, Lamont and Norman and I we talk. Norman is in Arizona. All right. Lamont is in California. We talk and we try to get things done. All right. Lamont just reached out to me. I don't know if y'all seen the dude that's here in Maryland that talks about his his family court situation, and Lamar reached out to me because dude had 100 some odd thousand followers on his page, on his IG page, talking about um fathers. Okay, and I'm like, no, pay. That's not how it all went down. He doesn't have 100 something thousand talking about fathers. Okay, he has 100 something thousand talking about what he does with his two twin boys. Okay, but the mother tried to come back at him, tried to take the kids from him, and they trying to, in the courts and here out here in the county, are trying to railroad him. All right, like they try to do all of us. Okay, all us fathers, black, gray, whomever. All right, Mr. Pay, what do you
Yes,
have
sir.
to say, sir?
Well, you just every man just be encouraged. You know, it's a long fight, and I think that one of the biggest obstacles that we face is just being discouraged. You know, the system is just that's really the only thing that they're trying to do is to get you to quit. You know, they gonna hit your pockets. They're gonna hit you emotionally. They're gonna hit you psychologically. They're gonna make you feel lower than dirt. And that's just part of it. So, you know, that's the reason why I think what Eric and Winning Strategies is doing is so important, because this process is hard enough on your own if you don't have people to confide in. You know, I was fortunate. It was my ordeal. I was served January 2015, and I got my decree June of 2019. But I had maybe about four or five, a half dozen, you know, friends, associates that would just allow me to vent to them, you know, just be an open ear. And those five people, they know who they are. They were the, you know, they are what got me through this whole thing. So, you know, I'd like to commend Eric for what he's doing. I came in on the call and the brother was talking about how you know, you got to go hard in the paint on them, and you actually do. You have to, you know, there was a you got to hit the kill switch, and you did, because I tell a lot of people there's no use in um, starting off with arguing for joint custody, because at that point you have nowhere to go at that point. You have to ask for full custody, and joint custody will be the negotiated, that's the halfway, that's what you'll accept is joint custody. But you can't go in there asking for joint, because there's nowhere to go after that.
Now, you hear? Did you hear?
Yeah.
All right, because and this is not coming from somebody who's just wanting to be saying something. This is coming from another brother. All right, another father. All right. Now, y'all see, I put up something called the Self Representing Litigant Handbook. All right. That was from the Maryland Lawyer Association. They don't even get that book out anymore. Why they don't, I don't know. All right. But I can make you copies of it if you care to have it. Okay. It goes into before your hearing what to expect. Okay. How to prepare, what to bring, and what to wear. Okay. Yeah, they still do make you they still judge us by what we have on our backs. All right. During your hearing, the day of your trial, introducing evidence. You have every right to introduce as much evidence as you have about your children that you have in your arsenal. Trust me, it works. Okay? You can object. Okay? Did I object to my my son's mother attorney? Pardon my expression. Hell yeah. And she knew I was right. Okay. I said, well, she said something that I found to be contrary. I said, objection. Where is that? That's hearsay. All right. remember to always be respectful. Okay? Don't be speaking over people. Okay? The judges or magistrate, they already, I'm saying they already against us as it is. All right? Don't give them another reason to say, well, you're being not nice about the situation right about now. All right? But remember, after your hearing, that's when it's going to be the one of the deciding factors. Okay? But like I said, if you want it, I can run you off several copies and share it with you can share it with your homeboys as well. Now in virtual hearings, that's a little different. It's a little tricky with that. Okay. You still get to present your arguments and everything. But remember, okay, still have it there. Get it together now. All right. And it also has something called tips from the bench. All right. How what judges and magistrates have to say. All right. So, gentlemen, if y'all want that, y'all know y'all got that from me. Okay. From Winning Strategies, Fatherhood, the Courts, and Custody. All right. Because we got that, and I don't think a lot of fathers have it, but a lot of fathers need it. All right. A lot of fathers need it. Oh, let me show you. I have it right here. This is the shirt that y'all get. Okay. For being here tonight. In a month, I can even mail you. I can mail you yours over there. And your bracelet. Okay. The bracelet comes with up to how many 4 children if you have more than that. I mean, I don't. Um, on your bracelet. Winning Strategies is paying for that for y'all. All right. So I'll just need to get that information from you, mail it, and I mean, I mail it to your house and meet you someplace and give you everything. I already talked to Jason. He wants his city night stuff, his black bracelet with his kids. All right, but if there's nothing more that needs to be said, my good man, I'm going to bid you a good evening. Okay, oh, listen, I already talked with Eric. He hopefully he can be there with us on December the 21st. At the stadium. So
Count me in. Count
he
me
got
in.
you in on y'all hear him. He says he's gonna be there to volunteer with us on November the 3rd. All
Count me
right.
in. I'm in.
Oh, but look, check this out, right? Check this out. My people today got their food packages from this month. So what we doing to show our gratitude, we're ordering food packages from food co-ops, turkeys, everything in them, man. I'm like, psh, I gotta deliver some of them to my volunteers after this call. Before I take my mother-in-law home, I gotta deliver some of my food packages to some of our volunteers. Hamburger packages, meat packages. I'm like, man. But you know what? Y'all can hit me up. 443-768-8158. Remember, if your phone is not locked into my if your number's not locked into my phone already, it's best to text me because I will not answer calls. Um, numbers I do not know. Bill collectors are being
Oh
smart
no, thank
now.
you. Yeah,
Okay.
you can leave that.
No, but I'm like, I don't know you. Bye. But
Right.
if not, I want everybody to have a good evening. I want y'all to thank for spending your Saturday with me for an hour. Um, it's been real. The struggle is real. Our children need their fathers. All right.
Oh,
Our children need their fathers. But I'm gonna leave you with this. Y'all here, for those here who are in Maryland right now that's watching this, you hear about the crime going on with the kids and stuff going on, but have they even talked about how they want to bring the fathers into the life of the child
Oh
to
no.
stop them? How they want to incorporate the father to do that? No, they haven't,
Mm.
because they see us as not being important. But it's up to us to make our presence known. And with that being said, I want everybody to have a good evening.
Good evening, guys. Y'all be
Thanks.
Take it
blessed.
easy. Peace.